So it seems we missed something, guys. Yes, guys, that's a big oopsie on my part, but it's not just me that did an oopsie. The entire content creators regarding this game also did the oopsie. So firstly, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Essentially, we have some new information, but in fact, it's actually old information from an article dated 25th of August from the guys at Game Informer, which we'll get into in just a second. The article itself gives us some crucial information on how the developers expect the single player and the multiplayer to pan out and how they actually expect us to play the game, as they're interviewing IllFonic's lead head of creative and design, Jared Gerrickson. Now, I hope I didn't butcher your name there, Jared. If I did, I apologize. So let's get right to it. Jared says that IllFonic is aware that when it and other teams announce games based on popular horror IPs like Halloween, fans get bummed when they learn it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game. I wanted to include the single player campaign for them, but that's not the only reason. Gerrickson tells me the single player campaign is designed to be played first, as it teaches you how to be the best Michael Myers in the game's multiplayer mode. So right there, that just screams that it is essential to play the single player first before even divulging into the multiplayer. That it is a segue into the multiplayer through all the story beats of the first movie, including extras that John Carpenter has put in there. That's why we see the Red Rabbit Lounge in the last video with the screenshot, as well as Smith Grove's Sanitarium. You'll probably start the game in Smith Grove as Michael. They'll slowly teach you the abilities and you'll go on a killing spree, I guess, to escape and then go from there. And then the story, they're giving you that freedom of choice. You're learning to become Michael, so you'll be able to maybe even change the original story from the movie, so it could end a completely different way. It's not just some tacked on mode that these are the challenges that you need to do and it's just for those single player folk. It's for everybody to fully indulge themselves in Michael, and there's no mention of playing heroes. You are just playing Michael here. I really like this approach. It's a good segue into the multiplayer. Now, you don't have to play the multiplayer if you don't want to, but the game has been curated so that you segue into that multiplayer once you learn how to be the best Michael you can be. Next, Jared would say that you play through the events of the first Halloween film. Now, originally in my last video, I said it would cover Halloween 1 and 2, but it's not. It's solely primarily focused on the first Halloween film, and a little after to learn more never seen before seen story about that night, which is what I spoke about previously there. John Carpenter has obviously got extra bits he wants to put in there that add up that lore to the story and learn a bit more about Michael, as well as you get to play more. That's why we see the Red Rabbit Lounge and the Sanitarium, and acquire different abilities. So they'll give you abilities over time and perform different kills on the citizens. That's your executions. I want to see loads of those of Haddonfield in this campaign, because we saw a load in Friday the 13th. They were brilliant. It trains you to be the optimal Michael Myers for multiplayer, Gerrickson says. The team is working with Carpenter and longtime franchise producer Malik Akkad. He's been its producer since 1985, taking over the reins from his father, who was the Halloween producer prior to that, to create this game, including the single player campaign, so you can expect it to feel authentic to the original films. It will even emulate the 1970s movies vibe of the original film, with Gerrickson calling it a period piece game. Now, Gunn can help in that fact. They were they wanted to be authentic to Texas Chainsaw, so they looked at clothing around that era and everything, so they could probably help in that department. They really enjoy doing that kind of stuff, staying true to that vibe and look and feel of the 70s. This means the visual style, the dialogue, and even the technology available to you in game will match the time period. This applies to single player, multiplayer content in the game, with Gerrickson explaining to me IllFonic has taken great strides to revolutionize this genre this time around. We're filling out the world with NPCs and AI, which we spoke about previously, and heroes can save the town now instead of the standard do XYZ and escape alone. But you can play how you want, he says. If you're saving town people, you're slowing Michael down from killing people. On the other hand, if you're playing as Michael, you will have more things to do that might be easier than killing a hero. So the power balance is a lot more interesting and different than the same old of the genre. So they're giving you that emphasis of freedom, making your own decisions on how you want to tackle the game, especially in the asim side. So do you really want to go for that hero, or do you just want to pick off the residents slowly so they can't recruit them? Because a lot of people are worried that Michael is going to get bullied, but we'll touch on that a little later in the article. So by giving players that autonomy, which is what a lot of people want in their games, they want that freedom to basically do what they want. They don't want, I spawn in, heroes spawn in, I have to kill heroes, or heroes have to escape from me. You've got all these other elements on top of that basic aspect of the game that switches it up every time. So you can be focusing on maybe taking out power on houses, you can be focusing on the residents, you might want to just get a few of the heroes, you might want to get all the heroes. It all depends on how you want to play the game, which gives you that player autonomy to experience being Michael the way you want to do it. And that's one of the best ways to keep the game fresh every time you play. So because of the player agency that they're giving you, that will determine how the match will pan out through the choices that you make. Halloween will utilize the canon of the franchise heavily, but IllFonic has been given the green light to add things it needs to make it fun. For example, in the movies, Michael has the uncanny ability to appear anywhere and is seemingly inhuman in the amount of damage he can take. His gameplay abilities will reflect that. So just with that little sentence, it literally clarifies that you'll be able to teleport because you need to be anywhere at any time. And it also clarifies that there'll be no bullying Michael because of the amount of damage he can take, which means that you may be able to hit him, but he's just going to shrug it off and you're going to be fucked. I do seriously hope this is the case, that Michael isn't just a pushover or a pussy, and that he can stand his ground and he'll be a formidable foe against heroes and residents. But only time will tell in this case when we see the game itself in action. Now we talk about Loomis. He is not a man anymore after all. As Dr. Samuel Loomis declares in the reveal trailer, he is the Shape. Speaking of Loomis, IllFonic is working with the family of the Loomis actor Donald Pleasance to use his likeness, as Loomis is the narrator, so he's going to narrate the entire game. We don't know how he's going to do that. He might be talking to Michael throughout the campaign. Karma, the Dark World developer, Pollard Studio, is a separate entity that IllFonic is using, helping IllFonic develop the campaign. Something Gerrickson says has supercharged the Unreal Engine 5 developed project. So they are using Unreal Engine 5. It does have issues, but hopefully they can overcome that. Nice to see anything in Unreal 5 done correctly. So the fact they've got a third-party studio working just solely on the campaign, and they're using Loomis as a narrator to speak to Michael throughout or just narrate what is happening. We have no idea how that's going to entail until we actually see it in action. I know a lot of people have spoken about the voice actor that's doing Loomis, whether it's AI or whether it's not. Personally, I don't have an issue with it that much. It's okay. Whether they could do AI, but maybe that's going to cost to the family, who knows? Or they just want to get another actor in or re-record. It's hard to tell at this point. Gerrickson goes on to say that Jason of Friday the 13th fame is a bull in a china shop, that the Predator is a big cat, powerful and noisy, and that Michael is a coiled up cobra that happens to be in any bush you walk by. This will be reflected in his gameplay prowess, though IllFonic isn't ready to dive into specifics just yet. I think one of the best ways to describe Michael is that he calculates things. He's cunning with what he does and where he is, and he knows to be in certain places before the victim or the hero knows, as we've seen portrayed within the movie franchise. He's not dumb by any standards. So I think the definition of a coiled cobra is actually quite fitting to him, because he waits, he takes his time, and then he just strikes. And with the developer saying that there is a big emphasis on stealth on both sides, I guess, it's going to be interesting to see, because a lot of gamers, they just like to rush everything. As soon as they find that meta, they just rush. They don't like immerse themselves in the experience, whereas that's kind of what I do every time I play a ASIM game. I immerse myself into it, and that's what I want to do with this game. I want to immerse myself being Michael, being calm and collected, and being able to think about my next move and what I'm gonna do instead of being rushed off my feet, because that's usually what happens when you're a killer. Very stressed because you're rushed. You know all the things that the others can do, and it's like you're on the clock constantly, and you're having to go as fast as you can to make sure that nobody wins. And that's where the competitiveness side of things comes out in these ASIM games. And it sounds like it'll be more of a relaxed approach, because obviously the players are not just your sole focus when you're playing the multiplayer side of things. Next up, IllFonic is still supporting its older titles. It's released new Predator Hunting Grounds content in recent weeks, but Garrison says this is the first time the entire team will be focused on one project, Halloween. So the entire team is working on this game solely. Partly that's because Unreal Engine 5 allows the team to try new techniques it struggled with in the past, such as dynamic lighting and other technological feats. So the fact that everybody from the team is working on this title is great news. So that means that previously with their other titles, they had their team separated, dealing with Killer Clowns, dealing with Predator, dealing with Ghostbusters, whereas everybody is indulged in this. So a massive collective effort from everybody. That's fantastic. They're all 100% locked in to deliver the best Halloween experience they can give. Here again, we touch on the single player. So it says, since the game is based on the events of the first film, it places you in the same mindset as Haddonfield citizens and movie watchers, in that a lot about Michael Myers is obscured in mystery. We're kind of expanding on that, Gerrickson adds. Is he looking for Laurie Strode? So that confirms that Laurie Strode is in the game. People were asking, is Laurie in the game? I think that confirms it. I think the ultimate question is can we get Jamie Lee Curtis involved in the project, or is she already involved in the project? Can John convince her to be involved in the project? Hopefully we'll see. Or just coming back to right a wrong or get revenge or something else. Now that goes back to what I said previously, where the story could branch and change. It's not set in stone that it will cover the first movie. You maybe get to decide which pathway you go down. Then it says Loomis has gone crazy in the film because he's obsessed with the thing he cannot understand, and in our game you'll be playing the thing he and you cannot understand. I think that's definitely an interesting angle, and it is the way it's worded gives the impression that we'll be able to decide how things are within the story, branching off storyline. It's not just you're going back to get Laurie. That's it. It seems like you'll be able to make choices within this story. It is an interesting angle, most definitely. Jared goes on to say that fun sits at the top of IllFonic's multiplayer priorities in Halloween, but a close second is breaking the stigma. We have to use this world to make it bigger. What would happen if you zoomed the camera all the way out and saw Haddonfield beyond how it was needed for a scene in the movie? IllFonic is focused on thoroughly adding to Haddonfield. It's doing the same for Michael's set of moves. So what I'm getting from this is that they're highlighting the fact that they want to add to Haddonfield, so there'll be more locations to play in, more story beats to potentially add to the story campaign, possibly, and that Michael will have a set of moves. With this, clearly it's nothing out of the ordinary. They will want to expand on the foundation that they create to obviously procure more money, providing the game is successful, which I know it will be. And then in regards to Michael's move sets, usually you get 4. We had it with Friday the 13th, you got 4. Predator, you get 4. I guess it's the same in Ghostbusters. So this is nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to building and developing and implementing systems within the style and scope of the game. And this is where we're coming to the end of the video. Hope you held on for this long. If you did, be sure to smash a like. It really helps out the channel. So for the piece de resistance, Jared briefly touches on creating Michael's moveset. Says the team watched Halloween over and over again, paid attention to the things he does in film, just kind of took that and determined what it means and what if you can XYZ. We essentially connected these things, presented it to the IP team and said, hey, this is what we feel like we can do. Though he's cagey about what exactly, Garrison says the team cracked a mechanic I've never seen in any other game, and that players will have to experience this holy shit moment for themselves when Halloween launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC next year. First of all, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for your patience. I know it's a long one again. My final thoughts on it is, what is this holy shit moment? What is this mechanic? If you've got an idea, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, as well as all the other things you've heard throughout this video as well. The best way to say it is I'm excited. It sounds good on paper, but how well are they able to translate it from that paper into the games and systems and mechanics that we've heard today? I'm looking forward to finding out. Now we know the entire team is working on this thoroughly. On top of that, with John Carpenter steering it in the right direction and making sure they don't fuck up his baby. I'm still excited to see more. What about yourself? Let me know. Hit me up down below. The little kid in me still is excited. Sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it for you guys to give you a little insight of all the information we got so far on Halloween the game. If you did enjoy it, be sure to smash a like. It helps out the channel more than you know as we continue to grow the YouTube. And if you want to support the channel any further, the best way of doing that is by subscribing. You'll also find videos on my channel if you want to check those out. You'll also find live streams in the live stream tab. And I'm just going to get out of your hair. So thanks for watching. I've been Salty Sliggy and this has been Halloween the game. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time.